Hi, I'm Tricia Kelly, and welcome to Less Travel 2.5, where we chat about traveling with Jesus Christ through the winding trails of life. Thanks so much for listening in. Hello, Tricia Kelly here. Thank you so much for joining me today. I would like to share a word of encouragement that I found through the life of Moses. In chapter 33, I'm going to start reading in verse 7, just to kind of give you a backstory. This is when the Lord tells Moses that it's time to leave the place where they're at and go to the land that he promised. And so, starting in verse 7, it says, get my Bible here. It says, "Now Moses used to take a tent and pitched it outside the camp some distance away, calling it the tent of meeting. Anyone inquiring of the Lord would go to the tent of meeting outside the camp. And whenever Moses went out to the tent, all the people rose and stood at the entrances to their tents, watching Moses until he entered the tent. As Moses went into the tent, the pillar of cloud would come down and stay at the entrance while the Lord spoke with Moses. Whenever the people saw the pillar of cloud standing at the entrance to the tent, they all stood and worshipped, each at the entrance to his tent. The Lord would speak to Moses face to face, as a man speaks with his friend. Then Moses would return to the camp, but his young aide Joshua, son of Nun, did not leave the tent." I love that verse, number 11. The Lord would speak to Moses face to face, as a man speaks with his friend. And when I was thinking about that and praying about that, I asked the Lord, I want to have a relationship that is so deeply rooted and rich like Moses, that genuine, sweet friendship that he had with God. I want that desperately. And I just don't want us to pass by the young aide Joshua that did not leave the tent. I love his hunger and his desire to just continually remain in God's presence. Moses went out and he had to go and lead, but his aide, he stayed. And I just love that. And I just been praying that, God, I want to have that hunger and that desire to never want to leave your presence. And I know that's our prayer. That's your prayer too. I know it is. But sometimes we get lost in our thoughts and we think, oh, well, Moses and Joshua, they're super Christians. Or we look at people in our lives, we're like, oh yeah, they're super Christians. Like I can't, I don't hear from the Lord like they hear from the Lord. But Moses isn't a superhuman. He isn't a super Christian. He is a human being just like us who made so many mistakes. So can we just remind ourselves of how it all started with Moses? Let's go back to chapter 3 of Exodus. This is when the Lord reveals himself to Moses through the burning bush. And so the Lord saw that he had gone over to look. God called to him from within the bush, "Moses, Moses." And Moses said, "Here I am." "Do not come any closer," God said. "Take off your sandals, for the place where you are standing is holy ground." Then he said, "I am the God of your father, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob." At this moment, Moses hid his face because he was afraid to look at God. So then the Lord speaks to him and he tells him, "I am sending you to Pharaoh." But Moses says to God, "Who am I that I should go?" And God said, "I will be with you." But then Moses again says, "But what if they ask me, what is his name? Then what shall I say?" And God said to Moses, "I am who I am. I am has sent me to you." And then God continually speaks to Moses, but then Moses answers the Lord, "But what if they do not believe me or listen to me?" And then the Lord responds again. And then Moses again says to the Lord, "But, O Lord, I have never been eloquent, neither in the past nor since you have spoken to your servant. I am slow of speech and tongue." And the Lord again tells him, Now go, I will help you speak and will teach you what to say. But then Moses says again, oh Lord, please send someone else to do it. Isn't he just like us? Where God tells us to go, God puts us on assignment and we question him and we challenge him. Oh Lord, I'm not good enough. I don't have enough skills. I'm not equipped. I'm not ready. I'm not prepared. But when the Lord tells us to go, he is our everything. He is the great I am. He is not going to send us when he's not going to send us into a situation where we are going to fall on our face and fail because of his wrongdoing. That's not the good God we serve. And so this is the beginning, the beautiful beginning of this sweet, richly deep relationship between Moses and God, where Moses starts learning, I need to trust you. I need to trust you, Lord, that you are faithful and that you are with me the entire time. And when you read Exodus from that moment until chapter 33, you see that Moses walks a journey with God that has the most brilliant, incredible, miraculous highs, and then some really dark, deep lows. But through that journey, his friendship with God grows and it gets deeper and richer to the point where you'll read in the stories in Exodus where he has these one-on-one relationships where when God gets so angry that Moses goes to God and says, no, please have favor upon us. Don't harm your people. And God listens to Moses and then he doesn't. He doesn't show his anger towards the people when they're disobedient and they just get themselves down the wrong road. And so we see this beautiful growth of this relationship. And it's such an encouragement for you and me that our life here on earth, our journey with Jesus Christ is going to have awesome highs and it's going to have some really dark, deep lows. But through that journey is how our rich and deep friendship with Jesus just continually grows and blossoms because we learn that he is faithful and that we can trust him and that he loves us. And it gets to the point where, just like Moses, this is true for you and this is true for me, that the Lord will speak to us face to face as a man speaks with his friend. Now, we may not see God in literally, but he will speak to us through his beautiful Spirit, his Holy Spirit. He will speak to us. He will provide his discernment, his counsel, his wisdom. He speaks to us, to people that are around us. He speaks to us through his word. And we will truly believe, you are my best friend. And we have this beautiful relationship with him. So as we go on these days and these weeks, let's not think that we're not good enough to have this kind of relationship, because it's not about whether or not we're good enough. It's about how awesome our God is and that he desires this friendship and this relationship and these conversations with us. He desires it. He just wants us to come and rest in his presence, just like Joshua. Just rest in his presence and just continue to have conversations with him throughout the day, every day. So go and have a blessed week, and remember that Jesus, King Jesus, is the best friend that we could ever have, and he loves us so, so much. Take care.